Okay, well, welcome everybody to LinkedIn Tuesdays. Today we are going to have Locke Alderson with us to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that get results. Put your city in the chat window, also what kind of job you're looking for, your LinkedIn URL, so that others can network with you, and so you can save the chat and set up your networking calls. All right, let's see if this thing is going to go for me here. Whoops. All right. So please note that this event will be recorded and the recording may be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Comments in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. Um, Career DFW was founded in 2008 by Jeff Morris, and he then started careerusa.org in 2012 after he attended a session in Washington, D.C., where he saw the greater need to help job seekers nationwide. He also wrote the book, What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. He's led the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group since 2007, and he's been a member of the PIT Crew since 2017. And for those of you who are new and aren't aware, the PIT Crew stands for Practice Interview Team. So I'll be telling you a little bit more about that. Let me see. Things are scrolling pretty fast here. What's happening? All right. And a little bit about me. I'm the guest host while Jeff is recovering from his traumatic brain injury that he had back in February. He is recovering at home and hopefully he will be back with us soon. As for me, I'm a job seeker and I'm a volunteer. So I'm looking for account management work, working in a marketing research company. So that's what I'm looking for. And then also, as far as our rotating speakers, so we have every month, we have Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vandemotter as our speakers. And they all provide their own perspective on LinkedIn on how you can make yourself more visible to recruiters, build your personal brand, and other LinkedIn tips and tricks that you should know about as you're in your job search. All right. So as we know, we have our LinkedIn Tuesdays, which is today. We also have the Interviewing Wednesdays, and we also have the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group on Fridays at 9:30 a.m. On Wednesdays, we have the practice interview team. That is at Christ United Methodist Church in Plano, Texas. And it is only in person on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month. On the fourth Wednesdays of the month, it is via Zoom. So all of us who are outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we can watch while we see somebody who's actually practicing an interview. So they submit their information, their job description. There's a panel of people who will then play the interviewers. That person interviews, and then they will give them feedback on the interview, what they did, how they could improve, and so forth. It's a really good way to make sure that you're prepared for your interview. I know that they are scheduled out pretty far in advance right now, so if you're interested in having them do an interview for you, please submit it as soon as possible. You can send an email to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. Whoops, on Friday, let me see. Wow, things are scrolling fast here. What's going on? On Friday, I have on the North Dallas Plano group. This Friday, we have Closing the Deal for What You Are Worth, and that's with Nigel Fisher. If you haven't heard her speak before, she's great. Hopefully, you can, you know, attend that session. Again, it's at 9:30 Central, and you can attend via Zoom. The link is on the careerdfw.org calendar. So with that, we also have LinkedIn groups. We have the Career DFW and careerusa.org LinkedIn groups. We have over 15,000 members in careerdfw.org, and we also have several members in the careerusa.org. So definitely check that out as well. We also have the YouTube page for careerusa.org. That is where you're going to find this recording, as well as a lot of other previous recordings. So you can click on the playlist, and here's a sample of one of the playlists that you could look at. And so with that, you can listen to any of these previously recorded sessions with any of these speakers. Also, if you aren't receiving emails about our workshops, you can join the Career USA mailing list. You can scan the QR code, which is here on the right, or you can send an email to Career USA, subscribe at groups.io, and you will be added to the email list. So please note that Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees, and we survive on donations. So please consider making a donation when you get your next job. If your new company makes matching donations, we are registered. If you do not see us listed, let us know who they use. And so today we will have Locke Alderson, who is going to be talking to us about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting and strategies that get results. A little bit about Locke. He is a retired professional and executive recruiter. He was a senior recruiter at Oracle from 2006 to 2010, recruiting and hiring Oracle and Siebel CRM consultants, managers, and executives. Prior to joining Oracle, Locke was previously a principal recruiter at Siebel from 1998 until 2006, where he recruited Siebel CRM consultants and managers. Locke began working with those in job and career transition in 2001 while at Siebel, something that he continues to do today. And so with that, I will turn it over to Locke.
Thank you, Patsy. Patty, okay. What am I doing here?
You want to share your screen?
I did. I thought.
You can try again. There we go.
That's not what I want to do. That's something else I'm working on. So sorry about that.
Sometimes it's the technical gremlins. So for those of you who've just joined, please enter in your information in the chat. Enter in the title that you're looking for, your LinkedIn profile, and how others can connect with you so that they can save the chat and you guys can network. All right.
Well, I'm not doing something right, Patty.
Click on that page 1 that I saw there because I saw it there. This is why we test in advance.
We tested it earlier and it worked.
Uh, darn gremlins.
Well, let's do it the hard way. And I'll do
All
it from
right.
my profile and we'll go from there. But that's my profile up there on my LinkedIn screen. And we're going to talk from that today because I'm not able to get my PowerPoint presentation. For those of you who want a copy of the presentation, just send me an email at lockealderson@gmail.com and I'll be happy to send you the whole thing. It's got a lot of tips and techniques that I'll touch on today and we'll go from there. But you can see my profile. I've got a banner shot in the background. Get that out of the way. Okay. My headline is there. I've got a headshot that's there. You do want to have a headshot that's fairly professional looking. My wife took that. You can do a selfie for your headshot if you want. And make sure that there's no glare. And if you wear glasses like Patty and I do, make sure that you're not getting a glare off the glasses. And that's something that's there. Your name, you want to use your name, the name that you normally go by. Make it easy for that recruiter or hiring manager to identify who you are when they pick up the phone to call you. And if you have a name that's difficult to pronounce, you might include pronunciation in parentheses in the middle of your name. You notice also I've got my headline there below that. Headline, you have now 220 characters that you get to play with. And that and your name, this is the first thing that people see when they look at your profile. And so the information there is critical. Your headline is one of those things that has that information. One of the things that you want to have on your headline is job titles. You have the opportunity to include as many as you want. You also use descriptive words with there like successful executive recruiter, skilled technical and professional recruiter. So those are some of the things that people will amplify that. When you do that, it will add credence to your resume as well, to your profile as well. The other thing that you have is open to work. My open to work is right there on this particular screen. And to show the details, if you click on the pencil, you can do the details of that. And we'll show you what that, I can add things to that. You have up to the chance to add up to 5 job titles here. If you start to add a job title that's there with this add title here, and it's not a title that LinkedIn recognizes in their library, it won't let you add it. It also lets you indicate what type of work that you're open to. I've clicked remote on this one because I only want to work from home. Likewise, you can work on site or hybrid. I have friends that work hybrid situation. Likewise, if you're looking to relocate, you can indicate the relocation here. I'm in Plano, Texas, which is just outside Dallas. You can also give information about your job status right now, that you're actively looking or just starting to look casually, and what type of work are you looking for. I'm looking for contract work. Most of the jobs that you'll find out on LinkedIn and most of the job boards are full-time. You'll occasionally find some part-time contract or internship type opportunities as well. So you can indicate those things as well. And we'll go back out of that and look at that on my screen. That activity, this is your analytics section. This is information about you and where you show up. The number of search appearances that you've appeared in the last week, how many post impressions where you have this. I sent this out as an email announcement about this to a group of about 500 yesterday. So people are there. How many profile views have you had? But the search appearances are what you're trying to gain for doing that. And by clicking on that, it will show the number of appearances, job smarter, job titles, you were found. In other words, these are the terms that people use to find you, the executive recruiter, recruiter consultant. So in many cases, the people that were looking at me were probably looking for a recruiter to help them find a job. Oh. Okay, so those are the things that you can do there. This is another thing that you might want to look about the analytics. These are where the people looking for you have worked. This may add to the companies that you're looking for on your target list of companies. Come on. I'll go back to me for the minute. I apologize for that. I have been a job hunter at least half a dozen times in my career when I've been laid off, at least 5 times. I got fired one of those times in there. But this is the other thing on my screen. You notice the resources that are available, the networking. The About section is the next thing I want to talk about. Notice that only 3 lines appear in my About section. That's all that appears when people look at you as well. So one of the important things is to have your connection. How can I reach out and connect with you? I have Let's Connect with my name and my email address. Before those are the 3 things that say. If you don't put that, and we're not direct connections, you can't directly connect with me. But by clicking on that, you can connect with me. But by clicking on See More, this is what you're trying to get people to do, is to see more information. So this is actually my summary section or my About section. You notice that I've had the speaking engagements that I have there, the number of different organizations that I've spoken for. And I've also got a skills list here, an area of specialization down there. These things are for the computer to find you. So I've listed my areas of specialties. I've listed career consultant, career transition consultant. Those are all for the computer, because the more times that those terms appear in the algorithm or appear in your profile, the higher you're going to rank when a search is run in those categories for those people. So that's another thing. The featured section is something else you might want to take a look at time. This is where you can list and share some of the things about your work experience. These are all the LinkedIn presentations that I've done. While they're not up to date on some of these were as of earlier this year. Again, you might want to update those on yours as well. The activity list as well shows you some of
Locke,
the,
do you have
yes,
a quick second? So somebody had asked about adding the phone number into the About section. So I replied that yes, you should also add in your phone number. If you're uncomfortable with adding in your phone number, you can sign up for a free Google Voice phone number. And I put the link in the chat as well. If they aren't connected to you, first degree connection, they can't see your information if you have it listed in the contact info, which is why it's important while you're in job search that you have it listed in the first line
right.
of your about section.
Because if we're not directly connected, if you don't have some way to reach out to you, it's very frustrating to find a good profile when you're LinkedIn as a recruiter and not be able to get hold of the candidate. Trying to go through another candidate through a LinkedIn email is very difficult because people don't always answer the email for those kinds of things. But you notice that I've got that. I've used different forms, if you will, in terms of textual information. Okay, rather than bullets, and I'm not sure that the LinkedIn editor allows you to use bullets. So I cut and pasted, but these are dashes. You could use asterisks or other ways that you can do it. So those are some of the things that are there in terms of that. Okay. If you have questions, let's go along and ask those as we go along. The experience section here has got I've linked together my professional experience and my volunteer experience. Again, LinkedIn now allows you to add sections for your for your volunteer experience, and allows you to add a section for your projects that you've worked on. It allows you to add a section if you're out of work, you want to have a section for your current work, which is you're looking for a job. And that may be something like a software development engineer that you're looking full-time in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And those are the kind of things that you want to have on your profile.
Locke, going back to the phone number in the About section,
Yes.
can a third connection see a phone number at the bottom of the About section versus the top if they're a third
No.
degree
You
connection?
can, okay, well, you can put it at the bottom, but people don't always go through to the bottom. I recommend if you're going to have it, to put it multiple places. It can be at the top and bottom of your About section. For some people, and I can't remember, Patty, whether yours is in your banner
Mine's
shot.
mine's not in the banner. I know some people put it in the banner. I have it as the first line of my About section because they do only see the first three lines of your About section.
I mean, what you're trying to do is to get them to click further, but if they don't see what they're looking for, they may not click further. And remember, there are hundreds of people with your kind of background, and just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are at least 40,000 people with recruiter in their profile. So that's how many people would show up if somebody did a search for a recruiter in the Dallas area. Okay, let's go a little bit further in terms of that. Um, These are the positions that I've had. These are volunteer positions. The MEG group and is one. The Frisco Career Transition Workshop was a once a month. Actually, those evolved into a 3 times a year presentation. The predecessor group did it 8 times a year on one Saturday a month. But those are the kinds of things that you can have, that you can list your experience there as well. But you want them to look at all your experience and look at show you on the experience section. This I'll show in terms of things that you can do. Let's take a look at my Oracle experience because I think that's helpful to look at. But you notice the different styles that I've used in terms of that. Notice the information. So part of it's in short paragraphs. There's the bulleted listed items like this. There's even a skills summary. This is a presentation of what actually happens to your resume and when that was given, okay? Let's take a look down here at the Oracle Corporation. One thing I like to mention, because Oracle was purchased Siebel, those two are linked by this gray line down the side there. But if you look at my Oracle experience, it has a title with Oracle Corporation. It was a senior recruiter from 2006 to 2010 in Dallas for 4 years, 4 months. There's a 4-line, actually it's 4.5-line description of my duties. There's also a couple of bulleted accomplishments for what I did with that job and add credibility to my experience. And I've also included the farewell email that the director of recruiting sent out to all the recruiting staff when I left, again, about my experience at Oracle. But those are just some of the things that you can do with your profile. Also, you can link, as one of the things that it does now is allow you to go through the skills and identify where you've used those skills, as it has here when it shows it at Oracle. And this is another volunteer experience there when I was with DFW Staffing Management Association. So, and when a speaker at my church. So things like that. When I was with Raytheon Corporation for not, almost 9 years, and an elder at a church. Well, those are just some of the things that you can show in your about section. I mean, in your experience section. I'm going to close that up and continue. You just go down the, come on.
The
Okay.
gremlins are hard at work today.
Gremlins are hard at work. Okay. The other thing that I'll show is, what I'll show right now is your education. And again, if you've had continuing education, you want to do those. And we'll get down to the skills area, because the things that recruiters actually search for are your skills and your job title. They can find your skills. I mean, you find your job titles in your headline. They can find it in the open to work section. They can find it in the about section. They can find it in your employment section. So the more times that you have your skills and your title in those areas, the higher you're going to rank when a search is run for anything in those categories. But the other thing that you have is your skills. You have now, I think they've opened it up. LinkedIn has opened it up to 100. I've only got 50 capability on mine, so they may not have rolled that out to me. But again, when you open the skills, as you notice, there's 2 shown of the 50. So what you want to do is if you don't choose which skills you want to organize, again, LinkedIn will do it for you. One of the things you can do is when you go to the plus section, I think it's the plus section, you can add different skills here. If it's a skill, again, that's not recognized by Oracle, like by LinkedIn, like one of these here, it will not let you add it when you add those as well. The other thing that I want to show you, which is important about skills, okay, is by going to, where's the skills area? Go to the blue pencil. It's black on mine now. A way that you can reorganize the skills, come on.
Looks like it looked up talent acquisition at the top. You have to go back
Okay,
to your profile.
go back to my profile.
And there's another question about the Meg
Okay.
group
Yeah.
and how you can get involved in that or join that group.
A number of groups like MEG and some of the others are an invitation-only group that you meet certain criteria to qualify. MEG is an executive group. So generally they're looking for people who have managed teams of people, maybe 8 to 10 people, although some positions, even vice presidents, may only have 1 or 2 subordinates. Also the volume, what kind of salary level that you've been at, shows how much responsibility and what is your responsibility if you were managing $1 million organization as opposed to a $100 million organization. So the MEG group is one that has, I think, it's that you have 10 years of experience as an executive or manager, and that you've managed a number of people, and that you have salary levels generally above 100,000.
Is there a LinkedIn URL for that or an actual just website for people to go to?
Mid-level executive group is what it stands for, okay?
Okay.
Let's see if I can go and click on the pencil again. And what I'm looking for, okay, when you click on that pencil and you get it, here are my skills listed. What you can do if you want to reorganize those is click on these 3 dots up here, and it says reorder your skills. And it will allow you to do this by taking your cursor over here to the side and drag and drop talent acquisition. I want it down here at the bottom. So right now, my talent, the 3 that I have at the top, or 2 that I'm going to have at the top, and these are what show when people look at your profile, are executive search and career consulting. So I'm going to say, no, I want to put it back the way it was. But one of the things about your profile, and it's something that I totally recommend that each of you do every week. Yes, I'm saying every week, is to refresh your resume, your profile. Because if your profile has not been refreshed in a while, it's kind of like buying groceries. When you go to the grocery store and look at produce, you typically squeeze the tomatoes or take a look at the apples and see if they're fresh. You don't want any of those bruised spots, want them to be soft. So you go through a freshness test with the produce. When you get to the meat department, you look at a best used by date. Likewise, in the dairy department, best used by date on milk or things like that. So the same thing, that kind of thing applies to your resume and to your profile. One of the ways that you could do that is it used to be when we were teaching workshops, you say you go in and add a period or a comma on your resume on a job board and repost it. That makes it a fresh resume as far as the computer's concerned. Same kind of thing happens with your profile. Once you go in and you have activity, because your activity on LinkedIn is another of the criteria that count when LinkedIn does a search. If you're very active on it, it's going to show up that you're an active job hunter or you're active on that. But you notice the different skills that you have there, and you can reorder those at your leisure. If you don't choose the order them, LinkedIn's going to choose the two for you. Let's show up. Another thing that LinkedIn does for you, if you don't put in your headline, if you don't put a headline up there on that, it will actually choose the title of your last job. Okay. There's my profile. If you want to contact me, it's lockealderson@gmail.com. And why I'm getting that, I don't know. Okay. We're back to my profile again, thankfully. Okay. Another thing that you want to try and do is to get some recommendations. This is one that was just added recently for me, even though I'm not looking for recommendations. Somebody added one for me, said some nice things about the counseling and advice that I was able to offer them. But these are another thing. People can look at the recommendations, and this is what somebody else has said about you. This is kind of like a letter of reference on your behalf. Okay. And where your interests are. So that's just a quick look at your profile and your resume. And what you want to question, some of the questions that you may want to ask about that, why do people look, what are you using LinkedIn for? Are you using it for job hunting or for networking? Originally, it was designed as a networking tool for the sales and marketing personnel. And recruiters found out about that and found out that people were posting information on themselves on there. Well, those are some of the things we wanted to talk about. Okay. So your headline, as I mentioned up here, as I go back to that a little bit, is one of the more important things that you can do. So what are the job titles, not the functional areas that you're working on? Because recruiters don't search for functional areas. They don't search for let's say, strategic management. They would search for a strategic manager or strategic planning. Okay, so those are some of the things that you need to know about how recruiters actually do searches. We can do.
Locke, when you're ready for a question, we have a
Yeah,
question.
go ahead and ask a question. We'll see if we can.
Okay, so the question is about the verification. So do you recommend getting verified on LinkedIn? So you've got that check mark
Well, it's
next to your name,
there is growing concern that there are a lot of
fake profiles.
fake profiles out there. So by verifying it, yes, it's okay. I'm a little reticent to give anybody my social security information. And I think that's one of the things when I tried to register or verify, that's one of the things they were asking me for.
Okay, for me, they did not. They have other ways of verification. The other follow-up question to that is, does this increase your chances of getting noticed by recruiters as well?
No, I would say it does not necessarily increase your focus.
And then somebody asked a question about groups. Is there any marketing suggestions about what groups we should follow?
Well, I would follow the groups that are for your career. That brings up another good point. When you're job hunting, you think, oh, there are only jobs on LinkedIn, and you go to the jobs tab and look for jobs. Well, I got news for you. There are jobs in several other areas on LinkedIn, one of which is in groups, because groups do not pay LinkedIn to post jobs. Whereas if I were to post as a recruiter a job on LinkedIn, it used to be about $200 a pop to post a job posting or job listing on LinkedIn for about a week. I mean, about a month. So that's another area. You can also go and you can find jobs on companies. So if you're looking at, you have some target companies, you can go in and search for companies that way. The other thing you can do with job hunting is when you found a job that you're looking for, you can create a job search agent. And when you do that, you can click on that, and when that opens up and says, do you want the job notices weekly or do you want them daily? If you get them, they're coming about between 7 and 8 in the morning usually. I still get them for some of the searches I've done for other people. For healthcare worker in Ashland, Oregon. Yes, I visited Ashland to visit a friend up there. So I did some for him.
I believe you're only limited to 20 though.
What?
of the job alerts.
Okay. That's something I didn't know because I haven't been job hunting for 10 years, 12
I
years.
reached my limit today and it
Okay.
said, you got to get rid of one of them if you want to add this one.
The other thing you can do is to go to the company and and that you want to find any new openings within companies. But companies will post their own jobs themselves that they have on maybe on their job board that's linked to LinkedIn, and they may not show up on the actual LinkedIn profile.
Mhm.
Okay. Questions we have, and then we're going to go to and do this time we're going to open it up and see if anybody wants us to look for a job for them or would like us to take a look at your profile.
All right. Is there a job title that somebody is looking for and they want to volunteer that? You can either say it or type it in the chat. Whoever is first will go with that. And if nobody volunteers, then I'll put one in for me.
Okay.
So somebody said IT project manager
Okay.
and supply chain manager is another option.
Why don't we type it in? Can you do that? Because I seem to have lost my access to my LinkedIn.
Oh, you have?
Let me see if I can. Okay. Let's try. We said IT project manager.
Correct.
Notice I'm entering it into the major search box up there on LinkedIn. The other thing that the person did not tell us, so if I run this search, see all results.
Is an area where they want to be in. So geographic
Well,
location.
let's do that first. Right now, it just said project manager and jobs. Okay, so let's go to jobs for project manager. Because we didn't delineate or indicate a region, it gave us the United States. There are about 2,080 of those. So one of the things that you do that I suggest is when you search for jobs, you enter a location. Notice up here it says United States. So whoever listed that, why don't you give us the location that you're interested in?
Probably Minneapolis.
Thank you, Patty. Yeah, Minneapolis.
Good guess. Greater Minneapolis area, whatever it has. There we go.
Okay. Notice we took it down from 2,000, almost 2,100 to 76 jobs. The other thing that you can see on this is that it has a list of the job. The job is actually over here on the right, there's description. So if I want to look at this one here, that tail is here. So you can scroll down and see what the requirements are on some of that. But one of the other things I'd like to do right now is an example of that. Let's take a look at the filters because each of these on this toolbar right here is a filter. And let's take a look at all the filters and list them down by the side. One of the things I'd suggest for you in looking for a job is to click the one past week, because generally you're looking for the jobs that are fresh jobs, okay? And it took it from 76 jobs down to 49. But let's say for the moment that she's looking for a job that's remote, because there are people that still like to work remote. Took it down to 63. So there are some jobs that require travel as well as with that. But if you find that you found to hit the filter and that you don't want that, you can just do a reset. But let's also do another thing for project managers, generally not an intern or an entry level or associate, but maybe mid-level senior or a director management position. So by doing that, it takes it down to 63 as well, the past week and the experience level. Come on.
I don't think your remote selection took.
Took?
No,
It
it
may not
didn't.
have taken. Okay, there may not be any.
Click
Now,
remote.
now, question, Locke. If we put remote, couldn't we just leave it general then, US?
Yes, you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question as well. But the filters over there, I want to go through that just to look one more time at it. You can search by experience level. You can look in the Minneapolis area. It actually lists the companies that are there that have the openings. So if that's one of your target companies, you can just click on that. You can click on the job type. Notice that there were not any remote, okay, that we found. The contractor, there are only contractors and full-time positions. And full-time is going to be the majority of all positions. This is the particular locations in the Minneapolis area. So if you live on one side of Minneapolis and don't want to drive to the other side, you can maybe limit it that way as well. You can limit the industries as well, because project managers are all kinds. There's some in telecommunications, there's staffing recruiting, there's a staffing project manager. I'm sure that people are hired. Leasing, so you have a lot of leasing agents and a lot of apartment complexes, but you can see that you can filter by all that. But if you don't like that, we can go back and we can say, okay, we want to reset that area. Does that help about our project manager in Minneapolis?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Next one, to
And
take
how
a look at
about
a
supply chain manager in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
okay. One thing, if you have already entered a location, notice when I did started to type in that, there's some artificial intelligence that they have, so it has that, some of those that you can do. There's some consulting jobs, but we'll choose the supply chain manager. Because we didn't select Dallas, right? I'll go Metroplex because that's the biggest, but you also have to recognize that there's a Dallas, Georgia and a Dallas, Oregon. So supply chain manager in Dallas within 25 miles. That's another thing about job boards that you need to be aware of. The default setting is for 25 miles. And that's what you as an applicant have taught recruiters. I don't want to drive more than 20 to 25 miles to work. The job boards picked that up, as did employers. So they limited that. But let's say it's your supply chain in Dallas area. There are a number of areas, but let's take a look at all filters. Because one of the things that I want to do with that is to change it down to past week and change it from 141 to 50 to 54. But let's take a look at, because Dallas is such a big area, let's take a look at where some of these jobs are located. Here's where you can adjust that distance, as I mentioned. But if I live in Plano or Garland, I may not want to go over to Flower Mound or Coppell. So you can check those as well. You can check industry boxes as well. So if your background is in aerospace and defense, civil engineering may not be the one that you want. Or if you've got transportation and logistics, supply chain.
Yeah, click on that one.
I narrowed it down from 54 to 19. Okay, and it says show results, but it did that, so you may want to implement that one. Come on. Okay, so in the past week, within 25 miles of Dallas, okay, there were 19 openings because we didn't level the experience level. That's one more if we're looking for mid-senior level. Okay, so I took it from 19 down to 16. So most of the jobs in supply chain are in that logistics, transportation arena. And there are a lot of jobs like that in the Dallas area. And it mentions a couple of these are on site. Hopefully that provided just some way that you could filter those jobs. And as I said, if you don't like the results, but you want to keep your original search.
Can you, I was going to say, can you select the most past 24 hours?
Okay, we can do that. One other thing I mentioned about job search, clicking an alert on, by turning that radio button on, it will allow you to get those, as I say, daily or weekly. I'm going to turn it back off because I don't want to receive those listings. Okay. You said within the last 24 hours. So you want jobs that have just happened.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is because a lot of jobs are closing very quickly because of the sheer number of applicants that they're getting. So I know that Ruth Lipsky, as mentioned, it's great to filter it on like the past 24 hours so that you can take a look at it and be one of the first to apply.
Well, for some reason, it's not allowing me to.
Unless they aren't in the past 24 hours.
Something is not allowing me to do that, but that's how you would do that if there are 12 out of the 140 within the last 24 hours. How about somebody else for a job or to look at their profile?
All right. Does somebody want to have Locke look at his profile, or do you have another job? You can come off of mute or you can type it in the chat. We'll take the first one coming in. Okay, so some people said they could look at your profile. Okay, so Penn Hoyt, Penn.
Okay. Now, one of the things that you can do that is do the original. And over here under jobs, and I want to just show you that before I go to Penn. Okay. There's a groups tab. Remember I mentioned that there are jobs in groups?
Yep.
This is where you would go to find it. Okay. So these are some of the groups that you can have. Some of these are local, some of them are national. But since Penn wanted to look at people, I'll go back to all. Did I spell it right? I think I did,
Yep.
Penn. Okay.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Come on. View profile. Okay. As he's got a background, it looks like he's a barbecue buff, or maybe he likes to cook barbecue. Or maybe he's working in the meat packing industry. I don't know. Okay.
No, I cooked the barbecue. I could not. I was trying to find something that was more professional of me, and I did not have anything at
Okay.
all like that. So, one of the networking groups said, "Do something that you like that's going to catch somebody's eye." So,
Yeah,
thought
it's
here in the
great.
Texas area, someone would like seeing a couple racks of ribs.
Okay. One of the things I'll note about Penn's background, he has not told me what kind of jobs he's looking for in his headline.
Oh,
Okay. Again, a team builder. As a recruiter, I'm sorry. 42 years, I never searched for a team builder.
okay,
Okay. Another thing, again, he's got lead gen / demand, because gen / and demand are together. Neither of those are searchable as terms. So if you use a / like
okay,
this, or the pipe character, which is above your enter key on your keyboard, leave a space on either side. Otherwise, the term will not be a searchable term and you won't get found. Trade
excellent.
shows are
Thank you.
trade shows are important, but you've managed or directed, you've managed a trade show company. Okay, maybe that's the case. B2B marketing. Okay, executive. That's the only job title that I see that's on there. Revenue oriented. Yeah, I'm concerned about the cash in my pocket. Okay, I'm being a little facetious there, but the titles are the ones that he's got down here. Did I lose him? Did we lose you?
I'm still here.
Okay.
We're here. Are you there?
Okay. Okay.
Gremlins.
There we go. He does have marketing director and marketing executive. Okay. So what are some of the other terms that you use? Because marketing in some companies can mean sales too. We had one person that actually taught, was one of the leaders of the Dallas Fort Worth groups when he did some searches back when he first started a networking group here in Dallas. He and a friend found that there were 80 different words for the word sales. Okay. So what are some of the other terms that are used for that? Okay. That's just something as a highlight. When you search for a job, what do you search for? Do you search for a lead generator? I don't think so. Do you
No.
search for a team builder? No. CRM is a software product. I've never searched for, unless it's a CRM architect. HubSpot,
Okay.
that's a buzzword. Trade show, I've never searched for trade shows, unless it's somebody that worked for Freeman, which is a trade show company headquartered here in Dallas. Okay, so that's
Okay.
just some critical feedback for you. Let's take a
No,
look
I
at it.
appreciate that greatly. Thank you very much.
Penny, I
Locke,
would
there's
say,
a question on the title. Rock had said one of the strategies I heard last week was that you can adjust your title to match the particular job. For example, if I search for benefits director title under people, there are 114,000 with that title. But if I search for a total rewards director title, the number of people with that title is now 25,000. So maybe add that title to those you're seeking so that you are seeing, a smaller pool to compete with. And what do you think about that?
yes, I would agree. But again, one of the things that you compete with, remember, all of those 25,000 that show up on LinkedIn, they're not all looking for a job. They're just people who have that particular word in their profile.
Mm-hmm.
They may have it once, they may have it a dozen times. The example I can give of that, when Oracle purchased Siebel, we were still looking for Siebel consultants in Minneapolis, Minnesota for a friend up there. And I ran a job posting up there, had 75 people respond. 50 of them did not even have the word Siebel in their profile. They had responded because it was now Oracle Corporation and thinking that the recruiter, well, a good recruiter is going to refer me to any other openings at Oracle. Well, maybe, but Oracle recruiters and any other recruiters, if they don't fill their openings, are going to be out there looking for a job too. So that's something to consider, okay? But of those 25 that had Siebel in their profile, again, I would look to see whether it's one time where they use Siebel, which is a CRM product, use it as a user, or that actually installed the product, which is what I was looking for. So again, that's how recruiters go about searching to do that, okay? Again, Penn, what I would ask you when you look for jobs, what are some of the titles? Because marketing executive may not be the title of the job that shows up when you put in the criteria that you're looking for. So
No, I see
remember,
what you're saying. So be director of marketing. So that's what I need to put in there then.
Yep.
well, that marketing executive
Marketing
is
director.
fine, but put in some of those are successful marketing executive.
Okay.
You have
Those are,
That's awesome.
220 characters to work with, so
Yeah.
make use of all of them.
You've used about 100 characters in your headline there. Okay.
We'll go to town.
The other thing I'll notice, your about section, take your email address and your phone number, put it on the first line.
Put it on the first line. Okay. Yep.
Because if we're not directly connected, I want to look at that. You and I are directly connected as first degree connections. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if we're not directly connected, and he has his phone number and email address in there, so I can find him. Okay. But if we're not directly connected, I couldn't find him. Got a picture of who he is. He's got his about section or his activity. And his experience, he's currently, or was just with a company called Deltec in the area. Okay. The other thing I want to look at, he's got a section for skills. Remember I mentioned that that's now a section that you can add. His skills are sales, marketing, and business case development. I don't think I've ever searched for a business case developer. So one of the skills that
I
you
swear
got,
I had that changed. So thank you for bringing that up. I didn't think I'll go
remember
back
what
and
I said,
rearrange
LinkedIn.
that. Yeah.
If you don't, if you haven't chosen what you want, LinkedIn will choose those for you. And they may not choose the ones that you want.
No.
There was another question, Locke. One question here that we have is regarding, I find having an MBA is now a deterrent because of the expectation of being more of a generalist as compared to a specific skill set like a CPA. Is there an advantage to dropping the graduate degree and only list an undergraduate degree? What is the industry advice from the recruiting side?
Well, and I'll have to go with that old site. Depends. If you have a general MBA, I would maybe think about considering it. But if your MBA is in strategic planning or financial planning and analysis, I would definitely include it. My MBA is in industrial relations personnel. Well, industrial relations used to apply to any company that had a union situation, and personnel is one of those more dated. Now the term usually used is human resources, and for recruiting, talent acquisition and talent management are the terms. So again, what is the term that you're using? And if those terms are not what describe you, then use the generally accepted term, put them in parentheses. For instance, I've had companies that had in their job titles, member of technical staff 4. Well, that doesn't tell me a lot. So in parentheses, you might put electronics design engineer or system design engineer, because some technical companies like a Rockwell or a Collins Radio here in Dallas area that I saw just the other night are companies that use those kind of job titles. When I was with Oracle consultants, there were 30,000 people under the category of an Oracle consultant. They ranged from junior consultants to very senior ones. But if you were an Oracle consultant who specialized in Siebel or PeopleSoft, that's the kind of thing that you want to spell it out a little bit further. So add some amplification to your degree. If you've got your MBA, what were your areas of specialization? I know my 2 granddaughters are down at Baylor majoring in business, and they can major in 3 different areas, business being only one of them. One of them is majoring in business and Spanish and human resource and political science. She wants to be an international lawyer. So again, tell people what you are. And if it means adding a few more words, you've got that luxury to add them. So let's go to try somebody else or another job.
There
Okay.
was another question. Do you have an opinion about using the open to work banner? Does it matter for
Okay.
the level of the position, executive,
Okay.
mid-level, etc.?
The only reason that I would recommend that you not use open to work is if you're in stealth mode. If you're still working for a company and you don't want to generally know that you're looking, don't use it. But it opens it up because if you don't use it and only limit it to recruiters, that's the other option with open to work. You have two options, open to LinkedIn and open to LinkedIn recruiters. And open to LinkedIn recruiters means those recruiters who've subscribed to the software license from LinkedIn. And Art Vandemotter subscribes to the LinkedIn recruiter. That's $10,000 a seat per year so that you can use that. And most recruiters, and I didn't have it when I was a recruiter at Oracle, I didn't pay to be a LinkedIn recruiter. I would use it limits what you can do with that. Okay.
Yep. Another profile that we have that you can look at is Ariel Gonzalez, and I can spell the name for you. It's Ariel, and then Gonzalez, Gonzalez. And then well, you'll probably have to look at, oh, it looks very large on the screen. I
Okay.
can't see your, I think you clicked on her background. There we go. Gonzalez, Gon. See all results.
This one?
No, click on the see all results because hers has marketer behind her name. That's not the person. I can give you the URL. It's in the chat. Or I don't know if you can see the chat. Yeah, showing results for Ariel Gonzalez.
Try
Uh,
Ariel G, because that's how I have my name on LinkedIn.
or get rid of Gonzalez.
I could type
There's
the
the
G.
Ariel G. They're under people. That was listed there.
Yeah, that one's not me.
Oh,
I could drop down the link if that makes it easier.
yeah, we have the link in the chat. I don't know if you can see it. Um, Otherwise, we can go on to somebody else and then maybe you can catch up with
But
Locke
this one,
later.
Ariel G here.
No, that's not me.
That's not it or either. Okay. Um, all right, let's go to Mike Belzile. So Mike, and the last name is Belzile.
Yep, that's correct.
B-R.
Yeah, B.
BE. E as in Edward, L as in love, Z as in zebra, I as in igloo, L
Yep,
as in love.
that's me.
That's him right there. Uh-oh, it went back again.
This one. Oh,
Strange.
okay. Spell the last part of it again.
It's
Z-I-L.
Belzile. It's
Yeah,
that
just
first one there at the top.
one right there. Yep.
Okay. Now, one of the things I notice here, he's a second degree connection. So let's see if he's opened up his security settings. Sorry, it's taken a minute, but this is important. Okay. He's got his phone number, which is good. He's opened that up, but that's the only way I could get hold of him. Okay. That's the reason that I do suggest in the about section. And I'm not seeing your about. Okay. You've got your Gmail address, so you've done that there, so they can reach out there. The other thing that's there is to notice that there's 3 lines. This section is very rich. You've got 2,000 characters to play with. So he's listed a number of different things. He's used a less than and a check mark and a bullets to highlight different things, because our eyes tend to follow. We tend to lose track of things if it's all paragraphs or if it's all data in one paragraph. We'll tend to lose that. Too many bullets. Again, I used to tell people who use bulleted resumes, if you're looking for me to pay attention to that and you've got 6 to 10 seconds, which bullets should I pay attention to if there are 20 bullets on the page? If it's an all bulleted resume, that way. He's used a lot of bullets, but he's used different ones to break it up for our eyes to look at. Okay. Okay. Let's look further a little bit down in terms of his experience. Okay. Been with Epsilon and product management and IRI. He's had a couple of different jobs. Notice how they're linked together with Sears, Roebuck and retail, Accenture and consulting. Okay. A good looking upon a resume. His experiences, his education, William and Mary for, I guess that's a master's, and U.S. Military Academy. And volunteer experience he's got as a separate section, which is okay. Let me look at one other thing that for you, because that's important. I mentioned that and I want to do that. For your current experience, are you still with, Mike, are you still with Walmart?
No, I just termed, so I'll have to update that.
Okay, well, what you want to do is add a section, and then it will allow that when you have that pencil out to the side over in this section right over here, it'll allow you to do that and add a section of what it is you're looking for, and maybe the type of industry that you're looking for, because you've got a varied background in data and management and product management. So what are you looking for? Product management appears to be one, process operations, change management, big data. You've got a varied in process management process flow. So what is it that you're actually looking for? That's going to be important in your case. Well, let's look at your headline. Data product executive enabled $1 billion new commerce. That's great. But you haven't used that to list other job titles. You're not using the open to work section as well. I don't see that on yours. So you may have limited that to just recruiters. Okay, but that's an area where you can list 5 job titles. You have retail experience in consumer packaged goods, but again, you haven't told people what you're looking for. And you're asking the people that look at that data product management, what position is he actually looking for? And if they have to guess, they're going to move on to this next resume. You've got a good looking resume, a lot of information there. You need to fine tune it. Because the big
A
thing.
question, Locke, to that point about the headline. I had been coached that put your dream job title, which I have, data product executive. I kind of made it big, maybe I can be more specific. But then I was coached to include not just put job titles in the headline, but put key accomplishments to kind of,
Well,
I don't know if that's the right way to think about it.
I would take a look at my profile, if you will. That's an example, not the best one. And if you take a look at the slide deck I'm going to send you, it's got some things that you can do to adjectives and adverbs that you can use to modify your profile headline. And then one of the things recruiters, remember I said search on a couple of things. They search on job skills, they search on job titles. So the more places that you can list the job title that you're looking for, what are the jobs that you're looking for? What are the titles? If data product executive is the one, then what are the job titles that pop up when you use that in your search term? There are going to be some job titles that may have that in the body of the description, but that's not the title they use, because I've never searched for $1 million cost savings person. So make it easy for me. Again, job titles and skills are the 2 key things that people look for. Then they tend to look at your pedigree. What are the companies that you've worked for? Okay, and how long you've stayed there, and what are your accomplishments? Remember, I mentioned I showed the one example for me from Oracle. There were 2 accomplishments that were listed there. You know, you've got a couple delivered $50 million in cost saving and enabled $1 billion in new commerce revenue. Yes, but I don't have any details of it. Okay. Those are the kind of things, and doing that as what? As a product executive?
Yes.
Okay. So again, my recommendation is to use more job titles and use your open to work section.
Okay.
We got time for maybe one more, Patty.
Thank you. Very helpful.
All right, thanks so much. All right, so I think the next one in line was Candice, Candice.
Okay. Last
And
name.
then the last name is Kibsgard. So
Perfect.
is that correct?
This one right here.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's going to show up and it's going to say the profile. Another thing that we will talk about, and while we're doing that, if you have a blue connect button, it's something that you want to do. When you do that, it's going to open up like this and add a personalized note. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to send without a note. But generally, if you're looking to connect with somebody, you want to add a note. We met each other at the LinkedIn presentation, and I'd like to have you join my professional network. Okay. But we are still pending because we're second degree. So let's look just for a second at her contact information. Okay. I don't have a way to reach out to her. One other thing I'm going to take a look at is to scroll down into her about section. She has her phone number and an email address. I would take that off and put those both on one line, because you have one more line that you can do. Show me more. You want to show something more of what you've done. Okay. She's got a good one that's there. Okay. Descriptive kind of things. Okay. Okay. Well, let's scroll on down to her. Okay. Are you still with the Department of Fish and Wildlife in Washington? No. So what you need to do is to add another job. What is it the
Okay.
job that you're doing want to do? Well, right now your job is a full-time looking for a job.
Yes.
And what is it? What kind of industry is it? And are you looking full-time or part-time? And are you looking hybrid, or you want to work remote? And some of the other details about that. If you want to take, as I say, for those of you who would like more information about my presentation actually on PowerPoint has got some examples of how you could put in a looking for a job slide in your profile, which you need to add. Because right now what it's saying is that you've been out of work for almost, a little over a year.
True.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions for you? Let's look at skills real quick. She's got volunteer experience on there, which is great. Multimedia and video production. Candice, is that what you're looking for in the ways of job?
I'm actually looking for instructional design, which includes that.
Okay, well then I would go, if you have in your skills listing and you have instructional design, that should be the top one on your skills list.
Okay.
Move it up to the top, because I only see 2. You have 99 skills, but those are the 2, video production and multimedia. If I'm not looking for a multimedia or video production individual, then I probably would move on. Remember, as I said, job titles and skills are the 2 biggest criteria that recruiters use to find people. Well, Patty, aside from the technical glitches today, it's been a good session. People that would like a copy of the presentation that I would have done if we'd solved the technical difficulties, it's lockealderson@gmail.com. And there's about 50 slides in there that will help you with some tips that you will find that will be useful in your search.
I've put your email in the chat so that others can send you the email request for a copy of your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, well, again, thanks for your insightful presentation today, Locke. I think everybody learned a lot by actually having you go through the profile, show filters, show things that they should do with their skills, rearranging, things that they should have in their headline, and other very interesting things so that you can make yourself be seen by recruiters and others. And thanks again for also reviewing people's profiles and showing how to look up jobs as well.
Well, part of the job hunting process is building a relationship. And to do that, you've got to show up, which is having your profile on there and being found, and then telling about yourself. What are the things that you've done? What are your accomplishments? What have you achieved? Because when I looked at resumes and 42 years or 42 years in recruiting, most of the time I looked at resumes and probably 90% of them just talked about their duties and responsibilities. They didn't talk about what they actually achieved. Nothing wrong with your duties and responsibilities, but doing those, what was the results of that? That's what counts, because that's what people pay for.
Yep, absolutely. Any final questions from anybody? I know that we're a little bit over the hour, but I think everybody's saying thank you very much for all this great information. And so I think that's a wrap for today. So
great presentation, Locke and Patty. Thank you very, very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. We hope it helps you guys in the job search. Wish
Thank
you
you.
all well this week, and hopefully you'll attend any of the other careerdfw.org sessions. You can look at on the calendar for that, and I can drop the link for that if you don't have it. These are, again, all free Zoom calls that you can attend. And if those of you who are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area would like to attend those that are also in person, please do so. So with that, we will end the call. Please make sure you save the chat by clicking on the three dots next to the title if you have Windows 10, or if you have Windows 11, it should be at the down arrow caret at the very bottom where you can save the chat and then you can network with others. So with that, I will stop the recording and then wish everybody a great rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you.